I'm gonna be real with you. What if you could flip a switch in a woman's brain that makes her think about you long after your date is over? A switch that makes the memory of your conversation, your laugh, your presence just echo in her mind, creating this insane sense of longing and a desire to see you again. It's not about memorizing pickup lines or using cheesy tricks you saw in a movie. Most guys get this completely wrong. They think being more available, more agreeable, and more predictable is the key. They text back instantly. They shower her with compliments. They lay all their cards on the table on the first date, and then they wonder why she seems distant, why the conversation just fades, and why they've been literally put in the friend zone. The reason is simple. They've made themselves utterly forgettable. The truth is, attraction isn't just a choice. It's tied to what's actually going on in the brain. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the science behind it. We're not talking about manipulation. We're talking about understanding human psychology on a deep level. We will break down 3 specific, psychologically backed triggers that create a powerful mix of intrigue and real connection. These aren't just theories. These are actionable strategies grounded in how the brain actually works. Master these, and you won't just be another date she had. You'll be the man she can't get out of her head. You'll become a source of intrigue, a welcome challenge, and a man whose validation she genuinely wants. Okay, let's start with the first trigger. All right, trigger number 1, and this one is so misunderstood, is what I call controlled uncertainty. Now, I want you to be very clear on this. The keyword here is controlled. This isn't about being a jerk, playing manipulative games, or causing anxiety. It's about understanding a fundamental principle of the human brain's reward system. Think about the last time you were truly captivated by a movie or a TV series. Was it because you knew exactly what was going to happen? Of course not. It was the suspense, the unexpected twists, the uncertainty of the outcome that kept you glued to the screen. Your brain was lit up with anticipation. This whole thing is driven by a powerful chemical, dopamine. Dopamine is often called the pleasure chemical, but that's not quite right. It's more accurately the motivation chemical. It's what drives us to seek rewards. And here's the crucial insight that most men miss. Studies show that our dopamine system goes crazy not for predictable rewards, but for variable and unpredictable rewards. Some research has even highlighted this exact principle. It found that women were often most attracted to men when they were uncertain about how much those men liked them. More than the men who obviously liked them a lot, and way more than the men who didn't. The uncertainty itself was intoxicating. It made the women think more about those men, replaying interactions, trying to figure them out. Think of it like a slot machine. A guaranteed small payout every time? It would get boring fast. A machine that never pays out would be frustrating, and you'd walk away. But a machine that pays out at random, unpredictable intervals? That's the one that keeps people pulling the lever for hours, filled with the hope that the next one will be the jackpot. The anticipation of the reward becomes more powerful than the reward itself. Now, let's apply this to dating. The average nice guy operates like the predictable machine. He texts back in 30 seconds, every single time. He's always available. He agrees with everything she says. He is, in a word, predictable. He gives a consistent, low-level reward with no variance, and very quickly, her brain gets bored. The dopamine circuit flatlines. There's no anticipation, no challenge, no reason for her to invest mental energy thinking about him. To use controlled uncertainty, you need to become the slot machine that might just hit the jackpot. Here's how to actually do it. First, your communication. Instead of being a rapid-fire texter, you introduce variety. This doesn't mean playing by stupid rules like, wait 3 hours. That's just another form of predictable. Instead, let your response time be natural but varied. Sometimes you respond quickly because you're in a great back and forth. Other times, you're busy with work, at the gym, or out with friends, and you don't respond for several hours. You're not ignoring her. You're simply showing you have a full, engaging life. The message this sends is powerful. Your attention is a valuable resource. This creates space for her to wonder what you're doing and to anticipate your next message. Second, apply this to your actions. The predictable guy asks for dinner and a movie every Friday. The man who masters this mixes it up. One week, you might plan a thoughtful, well-executed date. The next time, you might be unavailable, but suggest a compelling alternative for a few days later. This variability keeps things fresh and exciting. She doesn't know what to expect next, and that dopamine-fueled curiosity keeps her dialed in. Third, in conversation, don't give her your entire life story on the first date. A little mystery is not deception. It's good storytelling. You're giving her chapters, not the entire book. You're leaving some threads for her to pull on later, showing that you're a man of depth, with layers that can be peeled back over time. Remember, the goal isn't to make her feel insecure. It's to make her feel intrigued. It's the difference between a closed book and one she can't wait to open again. By being slightly unpredictable, you are tapping into her brain's natural reward system. You've become a fascinating puzzle her mind is motivated to solve. And that is a huge key to making her think about you all day. Okay, trigger number 2 builds right on the first one, but it operates on a deeper, more emotional level. It's called selective validation. This is where you move from just being intriguing to building genuine, powerful attraction. To understand why this works, you have to get the psychology of value. In any system, from economics to social dynamics, scarcity increases perceived value. Gold is valuable because it's rare. The same principle is true for your attention and validation. Most men operate with what I call compulsive validation. They meet a woman they're attracted to and immediately shower her with a fire hose of generic compliments. You're so beautiful. You have amazing eyes. You're so funny. The intention might be good, but the effect is the opposite of what they want. It devalues their validation completely. It signals that their approval is cheap. It can come across as desperate, a clear sign that he is trying to gain her approval. This is the classic nice guy mistake, trying to buy affection with compliments. It doesn't work because it communicates low status and a lack of standards. A man who practices selective validation understands this. His validation is a rare commodity. It's earned, not just given away. It feels valuable because it is specific and sincere. Look, it's no secret that women are often more selective in the dating world. When you show that you are also selective, your attention and approval become a massive reward. So, how do you put this into practice without coming across as cold or arrogant? First, you have to shift what you validate. Stop validating her for things she has no control over or hears all the time. She knows she's beautiful. 100 other guys have told her that. Instead, you must validate her for her unique qualities, her choices, her intellect, or her character. Let's say she tells you a story about how she handled a difficult situation at work. The average guy would say, "Wow, you're so smart." It's generic. It's forgettable. The man practicing selective validation will listen and say something like, "Most people would have gotten emotional in that situation, but you stayed calm and found a logical solution." That level of poise under pressure is rare. Do you see the difference? The second statement isn't just a compliment, it's an observation. It proves you were actually listening. It validates a specific, high-value trait and frames it as something impressive. You've just told her, "I see the real you, beyond the surface, and what I see is exceptional." That type of validation is 1,000 times more powerful than "you're pretty." Second, use active listening as a form of validation. A man of high value listens to understand. He asks follow-up questions. He remembers details. When you bring up something she mentioned a week ago, you said you were a fan of that author. "I just read an interesting article about their new book." You are sending an insane message. What you say matters to me. I pay attention to you. Third, you must be willing to selectively withhold validation. This means you don't have to agree with everything she says. If she has an opinion you genuinely disagree with, you can challenge it respectfully. That's an interesting way to look at it. I've always seen it from this perspective. This isn't about being argumentative. It's about demonstrating that you have your own mind. A man who agrees with everything is a chameleon with no identity. A man who can hold his own frame while still respecting hers is a man of substance. Paradoxically, by showing you aren't desperate for her approval, you make the moments you do give it that much more impactful. She'll begin to subconsciously seek it out. By applying selective validation, you're changing the entire frame. You are no longer the supplicant trying to win her over. You're the selector, the man with high standards who is evaluating if she meets them. Your validation becomes a reward she wants to earn, creating a powerful emotional connection that makes her think about you long after you've said goodbye. By the way, if you're finding this breakdown of attraction psychology useful, and if you're ready to stop being the forgettable, nice guy, then do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. We go deep on this kind of actionable, science-based advice every single week, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. The final trigger we're about to discuss is arguably the most powerful for creating a deep, long-term bond, and it's the one that nearly every man is afraid to use. And that brings us to the third and most advanced trigger, the future projection trigger. This is the technique that takes you from a man she's intrigued by to a man she starts to actually envision as part of her own life. It's the psychological mechanism that plants the seed of us in her mind. The psychology behind this is fascinating. Our brains are basically prediction machines. We are constantly running simulations of the future. When you can get her to imagine a fun, exciting, or romantic future that includes you, her brain gives her a hit of feel-good chemicals, and she starts to associate those positive feelings with you. You are essentially co-opting her own imagination to build attraction for you. The common mistake men make here is one of extremes. On one end, you have the man who is terrified of showing any intent, so he never mentions the future. He keeps things so casual she concludes he isn't serious and loses interest. On the other end, you have the guy who comes on way too strong, talking about marriage and kids on the third date. This creates insane pressure and makes her want to run. The key is to use future projection in a way that is subtle, low pressure, and playful. You're not making promises or commitments. You're planting daydreams. Here are the specific techniques. First, master we language. Shifting from you and I to we is a subtle but powerful tool. It's the difference between saying, you should check out that new Italian restaurant, and we should check out that new Italian restaurant sometime. The first is a suggestion. The second is a shared idea. It invites her, for just a moment, to picture the two of you there together. Second, paint a vivid, low-stakes future picture. Create a small, imaginary scenario. Let's say she mentions she loves spicy food. You could say, oh, you're a fan of spicy food? Imagine this. A rainy Sunday afternoon, we spend the whole day trying to perfect a ridiculously spicy Thai green curry recipe and probably fail, but have a lot of fun doing it. Notice the elements. It's specific, rainy Sunday, Thai curry. It's playful, probably fail. And it's a shared activity, we spend the day. It's not a plan. It's a daydream. You've just created a mini-movie in her mind where you are the co-star. Third, link future projections to her passions. This is huge. It shows you've been listening and that you envision a future where her passions are part of your shared life. If she's passionate about art, you might say, the way you talk about art is amazing. One day, we're going to have to go to Paris and spend a whole day getting lost in the Louvre. Again, this isn't a concrete plan to buy plane tickets. It's a grand, romantic idea. It's aspirational. You're not just a guy she's dating. You're the guy who could be her partner in adventure. You are connecting yourself to her deepest dreams. When you use future projection correctly, something crazy happens. She starts doing the work for you. When she's driving home or just daydreaming, her mind will naturally wander back to those pleasant future scenarios you painted. She will begin to create her own, running her own mental movies starring you. You've moved from being an external stimulus to an internal character in her ongoing mental story. She is no longer just thinking about you, she is thinking with you. This is the ultimate trigger for staying on her mind. So, let's bring it all together. We've covered 3 powerful, psychologically backed triggers designed to make you unforgettable. First, controlled uncertainty. By breaking the pattern of predictability, you tap into her brain's motivation system, making her intrigued, curious, and mentally invested. Second, selective validation. By making your approval a rare and earned reward, you increase your own value and communicate high standards. You validate her for her unique substance, making her feel seen in a way that other men can't. And third, the future projection trigger. By painting low-pressure, exciting pictures of a shared future, you tap into the bonding part of her brain, embedding yourself in her imagination. These aren't about playing games or being fake. Actually, it's the opposite. These triggers work because they are rooted in genuine high-value behavior. A man who uses controlled uncertainty is a man with a purpose and a life of his own. A man who practices selective validation is a man with standards and self-respect. A man who masters future projection is a man who is bold, creative, and knows how to lead. Stop being the forgettable nice guy. Stop being predictable. Start communicating your value not through words, but through your actions. Master these 3 triggers, and you will become the man she can't stop thinking about, the man she tells her friends about, the man who stands apart from all the rest. If you're ready to take the next step and understand how these triggers fit into the larger picture, you need to watch my next video, 5 Unspoken Signs She Sees You as a High-Value Man. It's the perfect follow-up to what you've learned today. Click the video on the screen now to watch it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more no-nonsense advice to level up your dating life. I'll see you in the next one.